Hello, everybody. We're live. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Hello, hello.
Cool, cool. I let's see, what is it? It's Wednesday. It's October 1st. It's October already, guys. I can't freaking believe it. It's episode 109, BFS Live. We're here with Always Hard Concrete, Bryan, who's the founder and owner, and Cam here, who's a foreman for the company, and they build concrete
What
skate
up?
parks. So how you guys doing? How you feeling?
Thanks for having us.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
This would be great because I had Baboon on a couple weeks ago from Pivot.
Yeah,
He's a good
Boone's
dude.
the man.
Good dude.
I love Boone.
And I'm on this journey to try to learn everything I possibly can about, how concrete skate parks get built. Because I live in the wooden skate park world, it's a little bit different. So I guess my first question for you guys, and either one of you, I guess it's probably more a question for Bryan, but tell me about the name. What's with the name? Always Hard.
Concrete gets hard, So
Yeah.
whenever the concrete gets hard all the time, that's part of the deal with it.
Yeah.
A lot of people think it means some other stuff, but it's
Yeah.
pretty much just that. And it's one of the hardest jobs to do, so it's never easy.
Concrete is very
And
hard.
we were just sitting around one day and thought about it and thought it was hilarious, so we went with that.
That's pretty accurate. Concrete's hard. I hate falling on concrete. I'll take a slam on wood ramps any day. Concrete's brutal. So why don't you just give me Bryan, why don't you go first? Give me your 2 minute, who are you more broadly? What's your relationship to action sports? And then give me the little elevator pitch about your company.
Okay. Well, I've been skateboarding since I was like 8, 9 years old in the '80s. So like over 30 years, probably like 33 or something, like 33 years skateboarding now. Obviously don't do it as much as I used to. I've been through a lot of, injuries and stuff like that, being an old man now. But I got started like that here in St. Louis, where I'm from. We didn't really have any skateboarding opportunities. There was maybe indoor skate park that came in like maybe when I was like 17 or something, ramp riders. And then other than that, there wasn't really too many public skate parks around. There's one out in Columbia, Missouri for a while, like the only concrete we had around as I was growing up. And did a bunch of other random things in the military, just some other stuff. And then when I got back home, I just wanted to build skateboarding, So started doing DIY stuff, started the Kings Highway Bridge with a bunch of guys. Started building all kinds of stuff all over the place, basically. From there, just got into building. And yeah, the rest is history. We probably been building about 15 years now, maybe 16. Got the company going, got a bunch of great dudes working for us. Just trying to keep stuff going and build more skate parks for everybody.
You mentioned Kings Highway Bridge. What is that for someone who's not from the area, doesn't know what that is? Because I don't know what that is.
Okay, yeah, there was basically a DIY skate park built underneath a bridge in South St. Louis City. It was the only skate park in the whole city. A bunch of people just got together, came down there with some bags of concrete, got going, and we ended up getting it sanctioned by the city. Started a nonprofit, bunch of stuff like that. Used that when it was a really old bridge. It was from the 20s, and they had to tear it down and redo it. When they did it, it eliminated the space that was below it. So we used that to kind of springboard our organization to get a new spot, the Peter Matthews Memorial Skate Garden. It's a little bit farther south from there, which is another DIY skate park that was built by all volunteers and all donated money. Except for our organization, KHPT actually owns the property. So the city doesn't have anything to do with it. It's the only free public concrete skate park in the city of St. Louis, and it's private. It's basically privately ran by a nonprofit here. So that's still all we have here. So we're working towards stuff.
So St. Louis doesn't have a public skate park? That's crazy.
It's got Peter Matthews Memorial Skate Garden. It's like a lot of other places around where there's some stuff out in the county, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But nothing in the city proper. So
Man, that's
I
got
think
to be one of the big.
there's one or two you can take a bus to. I think from downtown, you could probably take a bus, or I think you can take a train over in Illinois to Belleville also. So there's a couple you can get to still by mass transit. You know what I'm saying? But not
Yeah.
easily.
That's got to be one of the biggest cities in the United States that doesn't have like a public park like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Definitely. Well, I mean, half the time with our company, we're building these parks in these tiny little bitty towns, and towns I've never heard of before. And we're building skate parks all over them, but St. Louis still can't get it together. So,
Yeah, there's I mean, it seems like it's a little bit more challenging in the big cities, more bureaucracy and red tape. I'm on the board that got our public park built, and it was like 13 years for it to happen, and we've been waiting on the second phase. Like any day now for like a year. It's just like, oh yeah, early summer, actually late summer. Now it's October and I don't know.
Next year.
Yeah, right. Oh geez. I think actually, God, I was just talking to someone who knows someone in the industry. Actually, this dude just moved here. And he's worked for a bunch of the concrete companies. He just happened to be at the rock climbing gym next door and was like, oh, skate park. And then he knew more about our outdoor park and when it was going to start than someone who's actually on the board for it, because the city doesn't really communicate with us and let anyone know what's happening, which is like, okay, cool, I guess.
Yeah, I think a lot of cases too that the city doesn't really know what's happening. A lot of times, when we go to build parks, a lot of times we're teaching these people about it. They don't know the ins and outs of it, and the construction phase, different everything about it. So it's like it's a learning process for a lot of city people.
Yeah, and our park is under the bridge. It's under the 490 bridge, so everything had to bounce off DOT, and that made everything even more of a arduous process.
Oh yeah,
but we can go into more stuff. More specifics a little later. I'll give Cam a chance to give me your 2-minute. Like, who are you? What's your relationship to action sports, and how long you've been doing this building concrete parks thing?
I started skating when I was 10. I'm 36 now. Skating for 26 years. I moved. I'm from South Africa. I moved from Johannesburg to the States in '99. I got rid of my accent, and I lived in Tampa from '99 until 2008. Moved to St. Louis, and I met Bryan and all the guys and joined in on the Kings Highway project and started doing like my first building for skateboarding. Around then, I was like 19, I think, when we started doing that. And I got my first skate park job in 2011 with Who Skates Skateparks out of Maine, with my buddy Chris Lynch and other friend Michelle Buck. They took me on and gave me that opportunity. I moved to Colorado after that and decided I wanted to grow a little herb for 10 years. And I got tired of that and moved back to Missouri in 2020. And in 2021, I got back to St. Louis and started working for Bryan for Always Hard. And I've just been doing that nonstop since, just the last 4 years, basically straight, just on the road.
Are the jobs ever easy, or are they always hard?
Ha 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 ha. They are always hard, but it just depends, man. I mean, sometimes we have really quick jobs that are pretty effortless. Other times, like you said, the city makes things difficult, or you just can't catch a break. It rains every single day, all day, hard, stuff like that. So there's always excitement. There's always something new and something different in every job.
Cool. As far as, so you're a foreman. People who watch the show, Baboon, who was on, was also a foreman. So he gave us kind of the general gist of what that job is like. Do you think there's anything particular to your role with your company that might differ from a foreman from any of the other concrete skate park companies, or do you think it's generally about the same?
I think it's pretty much generally the same. I mean, I don't know. Some people, I think, individually are more hands-on and a little bit more hands-off. That might just be the only difference. I like to really be on site doing stuff instead of, I like to delegate, but I'm not somebody that sits in the truck or anything like that. I got to stay busy. I'm super ADHD. So if I'm not busy, I'm just going wild. But other than that, I think I do the same thing as pretty much everybody else. I mean, I've seen a lot of people that run jobs that are really in there that do a really good job as well. Just, the way that I like to do it too, but seeing the other way too, man, everybody does it differently. That's the one thing I've learned over the last few years. I've worked for a lot of different people, and everybody's got their own way of doing things. None of them are right or wrong. It's all the same goal at the end, is get the skate park built. So you just learn different techniques and stuff, different people you work with.
Now, Baboon said he brought this up to me over and over again throughout our time hanging out before the show. His favorite thing is the concrete gun thing. Do a lot of that too, or?
Nozzling,
Yeah.
I nozzle for the crew, and when Brian's around, he'll nozzle.
Oh, he nozzles a bit.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It
I've
seems
seen
like
Oh,
him
you
do
know,
it
you
it.
seems it
got.
seems
Seen him
fun.
no- I've seen him
If I
nozzle
own
the
the
broken
concrete pump, you
leg.
got to be able to use it, right? That's part of the deal. So you cannot run your own equipment, man. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Boone's obviously a gigantic dude, so it's like nothing for him. It's effortless. But
Yeah.
there's a lot more technique involved than it necessarily is just straight brute strength. Most of the time, if you handle it the right way, use its own weight against itself, stuff like that. There's ways little guys can get down to. So
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It sounded pretty intense. He was explaining it a little bit, and he even said that being a big guy, it made it easier. He also told us a crazy story about one of the hoses exploding. You guys ever have any of that happen to you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah, it can be
From
very
long ago.
dangerous. The knuckles and stuff are very heavy, and the ends of the hoses are super gnarly steel on the end of them. So if they blow up or swing and hit you somehow, they're under a lot of pressure. So if it pops,
Yeah.
you can get really hurt really bad.
Yeah, you've got to reverse the pressure on the pump, or else you're in big trouble. That's yeah. We worked on it's a skate park in New York, Bethpage. This was like 2011. I think it's closed now. I think they found like some like irradiated material around it, and they shut it down. Apparently, that's what I heard.
Oh.
But I had a hose explode on an inspector. I was running the concrete pump back then. That was like the first job that they gave me. And it's terrifying. He was old. He was like probably 75 plus.
Oh, geez.
And I thought he was like done for. Like this thing whipped around and smacked him, and it was like not good. And
Oh my God.
yeah, he
Jeez.
was pissed.
Yeah, understandably so.
Yeah.
So would you say it's inherently like a dangerous job compared to other trades? Like where would you rank it?
Definitely, it's up there. I mean, concrete's a pretty hardcore gig. I mean, you're dealing with the elements too. You're outside all the time. It's hot, whatever else. People be falling out. It's a stressful job. I mean, like when we're doing setup and stuff, it's not that crazy. You're just like doing the carpentry, around the job site, stuff like that. But once you're in the heat of it and the mud's flying out, it can be pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
From like liability standpoint, like are you just insured like a normal masonry or construction company, or because you're doing what you're doing with the spraying, is there anything particular, hoops you have to jump through?
No, it's just a general contractors type of insurance situation. So it's pretty much the same across the board. I mean, I think that if we had more equipment, maybe like if I had a boom pump or something like that, there might be some more heftier fees because of the bigger equipment and stuff like that. But no, yeah, we don't have any of that. So don't tell anybody. We're doing all right. We don't need to pay no more money on insurance.
One of my buddies is a roofer, and I think he told me he pays every dollar he pays in payroll, he pays $1 in like workman's comp and disability insurance. So I was just wondering if
expensive. We work a lot of jobs too where we're not union, but all of our guys get paid pretty well. And when we go to places that are union areas, they make us pay what they call the prevailing wage. So some places would be like $85 an hour or something because the guys like they're there and the concrete guys are making like 40, but then they also have all their benefits. You have to pay for that as well. So in order to be able to work in those areas, you have to pay like whatever their prevailing wage is. So. Like up by Chicago, it ends up being like $70 or something like that, 68 or $70, I think, an hour. So,
all right. So
but we're so specialty. It's like the regular concrete guys and most flat work guys can't do what we do. They come in and like, "Oh, you been the concrete like that?" Stuff like that. You get a lot of that. So it's like, it's such a super specialty type of situation. They'll allow us to work as long as we're paying prevailing wage in a lot of those union areas.
Yeah, I recently I do skate park review videos on YouTube, on Instagram, YouTube, and everything. And I recently did one in Niagara Falls, and that was a Spawn one, but it was an older Spawn one, going back, I think, nearly 10 years old, 2016 maybe. And I had noticed in the video when I did my review that there was like Bondo on the ground in a couple of places. And a couple of people commented, yeah, like there's some areas where it doesn't jive quite right. And then another guy had commented and said that when the park was built, they subcontracted out a local company to just do the flat bottoms, I guess, after. Well, they didn't. I made that as a presumption. They just said they subcontracted out some of the work, and then I just guessed that means they must have done the flats. is that a common practice? Is that like a cost cutting thing? Would you guys do that, or like, what's your thoughts on that?
Go ahead.
We don't usually sub it out. We usually do our own, but they definitely do that some places. And I think a lot of it has to do with too is that they try to get their people in their area to get the work. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just like a cost cutting thing as much as it is just to keep their own people in the area working. You know, it's a big job that's happening with lots of money being spent on it, and it's going to a bunch of out of towners. And they don't like that a lot of the time. You know what I'm saying? So they'll do stuff like that to keep their people working.
Oh, so part of that's like almost like a concession to the local guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Just got to keep them happy, or else you're gonna be. They're gonna make your life hell.
And who would make your life hell? How would they do that? Like, what? Give me some more clarity.
They would like. So if you're in a state that is a union, that make you get union cards, they'd shut your business down. You wouldn't be able to work legally. They'd call the cops and they'd shut your job site down until you got your union cards, and you owe them their dues. And then you have to do what they say. If they need 2 men from their crew on your crew every day, regardless of what their skill level is, you have to take them. Or if they require a percentage of the job or whatever they propose, like, you pretty much have to play their game. So it just depends place to place. But
that sounds like the mafia.
yeah, well, that's where it started, right? That's where it started unions.
Yeah,
right?
that's kind of part of the deal.
Really? So depending on where the municipality or whatever, however they define union boundaries, there are certain rules that you may not know going there, but when you get there, it's like, hey, here's all these hoops you have to jump through just to do what you're being paid to do here.
That's where homework comes in. That helps a lot to kind of just do forethought planning, go out there. You know, Bryan just went to Arkansas, our next project. He went to go put his eyes on the land and just make sure that the site is what it is and we're not walking into anything unknown, because it's definitely been a thing in the past. And the more legwork you do, the easier and smoother it goes.
So from the
But it's a lot of times too, we have like different types of job sites. You know, some places are super anal and it's like hard hats, everything else, and then some places it's super relaxed. And the good old boy comes out and says, "Man, looks great, man. I'm so happy you guys are here." And that's all you get. That's like your biggest inspection that you get for the entire time. You know what I'm saying? So, and sometimes it's like, you know, there's a superintendent and a superintendent's assistant, and then like 25 other dudes that are involved in the whole, like, above you. So it could be anything, you know, depending on what, you know. And sometimes the smaller towns have the worst, you know, like situations like that. So
within your company, whose job is it to figure those things out beforehand?
Oh, as far as most of that stuff, they'll have it like in the city or wherever you're getting the jobs from. We'll have that in their like scope of work, basically, that it's a union, you know, that it has to be prevailing wage and all that type of stuff. And then usually I'll have my office. They just have to file. They file like it's basically like it just shows our guys' hours and what they got paid, and then we file that to the union. Basically, we just email it over to them, and then they're cool.
So
But it's usually written in the contract beforehand, though.
Okay. So Cam, as the foreman, would know before he got there, like whatever things he had to understand about that job.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we try to. I mean, there's some curveballs that happen every once in a while, but most of the time, especially with the prevailing wage stuff, we definitely always know when that's happening. You know, they won't let us be on the job site unless we're already proving it to them. So we definitely have to, you know, have that stuff straightened out before we get there.
Yep.
Have you ever had any like real hang-ups on a job because of one of these logistics? Like you got a worthwhile story to share here?
Which one do you want to tell them about?
Those are the ones we don't like to talk about.
Oh, well, I mean, we don't have to talk about any of it if you don't want to.
We
Cam,
did one.
you can say, well, Cam's on his boots on the ground most of the time, so he's got the better stories. I feel like because he talks to these people on a daily basis.
I won't say where, but we did a park in Texas, and the inspector had just moved from Dubai.
Oh, jeez.
And then he had some cronies or whatever that were like, basically, from what I could gather, like half biker gang, half maybe Mexican mafia dudes working for him. And it was real interesting. They were brutal with their inspections. Brutal. I mean, if there was rebar overlapped, not correctly, or splices in line or any, just like the tiniest little things, they would fail us, fail. And it was just, if we had known that it would have been like that and just been a little bit more prepared instead of just running, sometimes everybody's specs are different. Everywhere you go, it requires different things. And we didn't know that, but what was written on the plans and what they wanted ended up being a couple of different things. And it made it real difficult to get through. We got through, and it's there, and it skates, and it's a good park, but man, it took a sec.
Now, what incentive would someone have to do that to you guys? Like, why would they do that?
Yeah. I mean, if they need if they need to feel like they need to make their mark, or if they need
power tripping, just anybody with a position of authority,
I mean, I don't know. You could get, you could go conspiracy style and be like, oh, maybe there's money involved, but I highly doubt it. Half these guys are too dumb for that. So
it's just an ego thing, really.
Really, I mean, mostly it is. You just meet somebody whose opinion.
Well, I mean, there's also other things. We've had it before where like somebody had got fired or something in their position because they screwed up on something and didn't let something go by, and so they're right scared for their jobs, So sometimes inspectors are, hard nosed and stuff like that as well. And that just depends on where you're at or what's going on. So.
Okay. In my experience, I exist in the wooden skate park world, and I am not a carpenter or construction guy. I've just spent a decade here fucking figuring it out, right? And in my experience, pretty much everyone I talk to knows nothing about like what it takes to build and maintain a wooden skate park. Like the comments I get on my videos is like these people, no one has a clue. Is it similar with concrete parks? Talking to other contractors and concrete people, like, is there really that big of a gap?
I mean, maintenance wise, it's pretty. I think we're talking about a lot of different things here. For what you do, I mean, the maintenance is pretty crucial, and it's kind of revolving and always up. But concrete, that's the kind of the beauty of it in its own way, is it doesn't require that much maintenance. Although if you do neglect it, it can go by the wayside. If things start to chip and you don't address them, you don't, chase cracks and fill them, water gets in, that kind of thing. Or if there's just like, if sometimes, the graffiti element is something that a town will just let go, but sometimes they fight against it continuously. And there's always that struggle to try to keep the skate park clean, and then, try to keep the skate park clean and sealed so that the concrete doesn't degrade, that kind of thing. But very rarely, I mean, there are definitely communities out there that do take very good care of their skate parks concrete wise. But I don't know. In my average on my experience, they'll ask you what they need to do, but unless they're really about it, they're generally just going to let the concrete sit there and do what it's going to do.
Oh yeah, I want a little more clarity around a couple of things you said. When you say keeping it clean and sealed, I want a little more understanding of exactly what that means. And then if someone lived in a random town and they have a concrete park, right? What things should that skater be looking for to see the signs that their municipality is taking care of those things or not taking care of those things? Like, what should they be looking for?
It's a tough one. So the clean and sealed thing, clean just literally means what I meant. If there's graffiti on the concrete, to clean the graffiti off of the concrete using, graffiti cleaner, chemical stripper. Some people even go as far as muriatic acid. But what that does is it also pulls the sealant that we spray on the concrete after the concrete is done. It peels that off. And we don't use acrylic sealant. We use a water-based sealant. That's just like a 25% silicate suspended in water. And it just covers the skate park. It gives it this little silicate cover that basically doesn't allow water to penetrate the surface. Now this is the tricky part, is when a skate park's new and it's sealed, it looks nice and shiny and stuff. And that shine will eventually start to fade. But unless you're there from the beginning and you know what it looked like, it's going to be very, very hard to monitor that. Average rule of thumb we like to tell them is once a year, go ahead and reapply the sealer to the entire park. Once you pressure wash it, scrub it down, and then reapply sealer. It doesn't hurt to put new sealer on top of old sealer. It just helps. But any parts that are raw that have been detracted by weather and wear, just regular wear, It's just very helpful because it just keeps that water out. You want to just keep that water out of the concrete as any way you can. And it's hard to tell. I mean, for somebody as a kid, you really can't. What you have to do is get involved and be active, and maybe, I don't know if I would go so far as volunteering to make sure that it was done. If it meant that much to you, sure, why not? But the city should be doing that because it's a public place. So just holding them accountable and just asking them when their scheduled maintenance will be, and then being there to make sure that it's happening. That's the thing.
I would have to imagine they would close the skate park to seal it, right?
They would need to for a few hours. It wouldn't take long. I mean, we can get it done in a day. We could probably get it done in the morning. If we started at 8 a.m., we could have it pressure washed, broomed, and resealed in a couple hours.
Yeah, I've almost never heard of a concrete park being resealed. What percentage of parks do you think are actually doing that regular sealant type maintenance? Not enough.
I mean, I'd say probably less than 10%, but you find these parks every once in a while where it means a lot to the community, and it is something that they cherish and something that they've all worked towards. And in those places, I can't tell you because I never stick around longer than when I build the park. I go back to visit and stuff, but I don't know, honestly.
So if a park,
we try to let them know about maintenance plans too, of like, give them like a little thing at the end to be like, hey, yeah, you should definitely recaulk it, in like 2 years, do some resealing, stuff like that, and give them the city that advice, but they don't always take it.
When you say recaulk, what does that mean? Where's the caulk?
So most of the joints, whenever there's any kind of cut or anything like in the concrete, especially the areas where it gets cold, if you allow water in there, it'll freeze and thaw. It'll pop those out and make those like cut lines or just different stuff that we have going on in there pop out. And so you want to put the caulk in there to keep it getting water in and stuff like that. So it's another form of sealing it, basically.
Okay. Is the caulk also always hard?
Well, unless it's self-leveling, and then
it's
don't
not.
use it on the transition because you'll be pissed.
Okay.
It'll run right down the wall.
Yeah.
Not like I've ever done that.
Runs right down the wall.
I'm just, telling people.
So yeah, you guys are, I guess, I like many people I know of like the big, grind line and whatnot, like the big ones, right? I didn't even know you guys really existed until Cam had reached out to me, and then now I'm learning from you and Baboon. There's actually a bunch of smaller concrete park builders.
There are, man. There's a bunch of sick dudes out there doing it right now. Some really cool guys. Fifth Pocket, Phantom Concrete. There's a bunch of cool dudes out there really killing it right now. And new
a lot of the major companies, they oversell. So they have like a full front end with sales departments and all that stuff, and they sell these skate parks and they can't do them all themselves. So it leaves a little room for the rest of us to jump in there and help them out. So we end up building skate parks for all different kinds of companies. So it's kind of cool.
You guys heard of Rampage Skateparks? They're up in Connecticut. That's our buddy Dave, and they kill it too. They do a really
Rampage?
Good job. Yeah, they're really good.
Are they
doing by you guys up there?
Yeah, you should check the Naugatuck, Connecticut park out.
Yeah.
That thing's bad. It's bad. It's a sick park.
Naugatuck? Oh no, let's fucking spell that.
Tauk at the end.
Oh, Naugatuck. Okay, I'll look that up.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh man, I've been watching this one park in Vermont being built right now in Waterbury, Vermont. I don't remember who was building it, but it looked really cool.
Catamount Skateparks. That's our buddy Elliot and Nick.
Yeah.
And a couple of their buddies up there that are doing that. And that looks incredible.
It does look
too.
cool, yeah.
Sick park.
There's a lot of just cool parks springing up here and left and right. First question is, what percentage of your work is design and build versus building someone else's design, and who do you, in your opinion, both you guys, who's designing the best the concrete parks right now? However you want to decide what best means.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Cam. You go first.
Well, I mean, I've always been, I I like skating transition a lot, so I've always been preferable to old Grindline, Dreamland, and Team Pain stuff. Kyle, Ohio is one of my favorite pools. That's kind of my vibe when I like to skate. So that's kind of where that's who I believe. I believe that Dreamland, Grindline, and California Skateparks does an incredible job. As far as designs are concerned, I love all three of those companies' work pretty much steadily. Very rarely have I ever skated apart for any of those guys that I didn't like. And it's always just preference,
Bryan?
Definitely, I definitely would agree with those for like some of the top three of the best designs out there and stuff. And I'm in the same boat as him. I'm 45 now. I pretty much only skate transition. Definitely not jumping down nothing. So I'm more leaning towards the bowls and stuff like that. Definitely, there's like old guys out there like Wally Holiday. There's some amazing parts that he built, like Porter Aransas, just weird, amazing, awesome stuff that's super cool. That's been around forever. As far as our stuff right now, we only do maybe 10% of our own design build stuff, if even that, because we just keep getting slammed out with everybody else's parks, and the money's coming in and we're making them, making moves, and it's just keep it moving. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We got a couple coming up though. We have a phase 2 for Effingham, Illinois. That's one of ours we designed. That we'll be finishing up trying to get it in by the end of the year this year. If not, it'll be first thing next year. And then we got one that we've been working with a guy, an independent designer out in White River, Arizona. It's on a reservation, Apache Reservation Park. We built one for them recently out in Vilas out there, and they have another one going. And that's not really our design. They have a designer guy. He's an independent designer, and but that's our job. So.
Getting kind of choppy on us over there.
Sorry. When we work with Pivot though, and a couple other companies, we do get a little bit of leniency in design if we see things that kind of don't jive. And I don't know if Boone talked to you about this, but they allow us to make field adjustments as long as we get permission from them. If we submit something that we think is better, they review it and they're like, okay, and we give them the reason why. Then they're actually pretty cool about it, and they'll let us change stuff. And we've done that before.
Yeah, Boone said that they do a lot of build and design, and that's what they prefer to do because they're one phone call or text away from the designer, and you can kind of expedite those stuff. And he definitely expressed frustration with dealing with particular companies when you had, as you said, field changes.
Yeah, when you need to just address something in the field, absolutely. And some companies are, it's also very different because every municipality is also a part of that. If they are dead set on the design that they were sold, then they also have to be a part of that review process. If they put trust in the build and design team, like some communities, they say, look, we know that you guys do this for a living. We trust you. If things change, we know that they're for the better. That's also something that people say. And there's a myriad of opinions in between those two polarities. So it just depends, man. Sometimes they're like, cool. Sometimes they're like, we want the stairs on the left-hand side. There need to be 11 and the rail has to be a triangle. And you're like, why? And they're like, because that's what we paid for. And you're like, okay,
fine. Yeah,
it's fine. We'll do it. That's all good.
Have you ever built a park? Obviously you didn't design, but you're building someone else's design, and you're just like, wow, it's a rough one. Like,
no comment.
Yeah, fair.
No comment.
Okay.
No comment.
I'd imagine. Is there any companies out there right now that you think are?
Somebody's got pants.
Yeah. Oh, geez. You don't have to give any names, but are there any companies out there designing parks that you think are pretty consistently, below average or subpar, or is everyone doing a good job?
I don't think anybody's really taking a dump. I think that there's a niche. I think that there's definitely cookie cutter tactics being employed by a lot of companies. I think a lot of it is just because of frequency, and it just gets down to laziness. It's easier to copy and paste and Jenga 5 obstacles into 5 different skate parks than it is to come up with a new idea. And that kind of sucks. But at the same time, we're all trying to build skate parks, and I can't talk crap on trying to build skate parks, man. We're all trying to give kids something to skate. When you get down to like a little bit more the way things I'd like the way things to be, or the way I know other people that do this would like things to be. That's when you get into the opinion of, these guys suck or these guys are good, but everybody's after the same goal. Some designs are a lot better than others, in my opinion, but again, it's in the eye of the beholder. I'm going to look at a street plaza and be like, not really for me.
I know you both said you like transition, and I was a hardcore street guy my whole life, but now that I'm older, it's like I just want to like jump a hip and kind of flow around, And I often find myself thinking like, will skateboarding and BMX and whatnot, will they come back around eventually, and will transition become cool, and then we're just gonna be like, man, we got a whole lot of plaza style parks that people aren't into anymore. You think that's a possibility?
Hopefully.
We lost
Go
Bryan.
ahead. I mean, so there's so much more interest now, especially in the televised portion of skateboarding that is both heavily transition and, street skating. I don't think that it's going to go anywhere in the cycles like we've seen it in the past, because it's been pushed through into the mainstream so heavily. I think that there will probably be lulls. And there are going to be new little cycles in between, but I don't think either is going to go anywhere anytime soon. There's already been too much, I think, proliferation of either to go back now. You know what I mean? I mean, there are little kids that are diehard vert skaters, and there are, 5-year-olds doing, 18 stairs and crap like that. You're just like, oh, so that's just the progression of the sport. I think is just taking it to a not sport, but you know what I mean, like the lifestyle,
Yeah.
the way that we are. It's been pushed so far forward that that's what it is now.
Yeah, looks like we lost Bryan. Maybe he'll come back. We'll see.
Yeah, his kid might be freaking out.
Yeah, it happens. I have kids.
Oh yeah.
Geez, where was I going to go? Yeah, I want to talk about design a little bit. I don't know, maybe it would have been better when he was here, but I mean, do you do much designing or on the design side, or are you just a builder?
We Bryan and I sit and draw skate parks all the time.
That's
I do it regularly. I have a lot of fun trying to think of new designs. I like to just do like I told you, I'm a pool guy, so I like to just do new shapes, get little flow bowls going on, that kind of thing. And it's just like a thing. But yeah, it's really difficult to pitch a design these days without a design team and without a lot of reputation. So 9 times out of 10, when you submit a design and then somebody like California or Grindline submits a design, based on their clout and their history alone and their level of experience, everybody's going to go with what you're dealing with. The way to get the best reaction is to talk to the people around you in the community and then build the design via them and but that requires direct action with the community, meaning you have to be at the town meetings. You have to call your own separate meetings in their town to get ideas, to have brain tank sessions where people think tank and just sit there and go through ideas. And, I've seen it done, breaking down the skate park into sectors. Okay, what do you guys want here? What do you think flows here? All right, let's work it. Then bringing it back, actually creating the design, and then submitting, okay, well, here's A, here's B, here's C. Which one do you guys like the best? That's the best way to do it. That's the best way to do it. But it involves a lot. You need somebody to be there to do that. You need somebody to stay there to do that. And then get it together, get the architect, make sure all the plans are architecturally sound, and then submit them for approval through the city. So it's a process. I love designing, but man, we just need to grow a little bit more as a company and hire some people to do that, because I run the show and Bryan is full-time project management and a full-time dad of a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
So, so there's a lot going on.
I'm not really sure who's built many of the new skate parks, because like where I am here in Western New York, there really was not many skate parks until the last 10 years and even the last 5 years, really. Like when I moved to here, I've been in Rochester for 13 years. 13 years ago, there was like nothing. We had some prefab parks in the greater Rochester area. There was nothing but a really old one in Syracuse, and Buffalo didn't even have one yet. Now we have a whole bunch. And
Yeah.
and a lot of it's because the Ralph Wilson Foundation, partnered up with the Skatepark Project, formerly the Tony Hawk Foundation, and they had these build to play grants that were for skate parks in Western New York, and they've done a lot of them. It's great.
Cool.
But almost every single one I go to, I don't think they're designed well, like really at all. And
Yeah.
and I just think they're, and like I basically live. I'm in my skate park right now. I'm here all the time. I'm here more than I'm home, and do the podcast. I do the videos. I'm just thinking about this stuff so much, right? And it seems like to design a really good skate park involves a lot of nuance, and it seems like all these new parks don't get enough time to like for it to simmer and work it out, or it just feels, at least the ones around here, it seems like somewhat like an intern is like banging these things out somewhere, and it's like, yeah, it looks great, cool, thumbs up, on to the next one. Because like sorry, I'm running along here. I'll give you a chance to step in. If you want to design something that works for all skill levels and user groups and disciplines, and also can flow and connect, but you could ride each feature individually, it does take a lot of time to parse those things out. And I think almost none of the ones we've gotten up here that they've nailed that like at all. It just seems like often the skate parks are not a sum of all their parts.
I agree completely. Sometimes you just get the wackiest things. A lot of people put too much into a small space. You get congestion, you get one direction skate parks, you get crash up derbies, I like to call them, where you have 3 obstacles all ending in a line or into an intersection. And that can be very dangerous.
Yes.
There are sometimes where there's just things don't work and or have obviously just been plug and played and copy and pasted in a different manner or in a different order. And I don't know, man, it's not for me. I understand as a corporate entity having a template available to easily access, but I don't think that that is the way that skate parks should be done. I firmly believe that a meeting, if you can, meetings with the community are the way to get it done, not submitting an idea that you already have ready and not letting anybody in the community see it and letting a few people that don't know what they're talking about sign off, or having 2 options and that's it, and not letting the community have a say and just presenting them and say, which one would you like, A or B? We don't care. You're not going to change it. Because sometimes that's the way people are. They're frustrated at these things. You get communities that don't want the skate parks there. Maybe the retirement communities, or just sometimes neighborhoods are just not about it. And then they're opposed to it. So then they're just like, well, we gave you what you want. What more do you want? And they're just kind of like, there, that's it. We're done with you, kind of spiel. And yeah, it stinks, man, because you do see a lot of that around the country. You see the same skate park in 5 different states. I mean, I travel nonstop and I see the same skate park a lot.
Like, oh, I've been here before.
Yep, there are people, you kind of just know doing this that who did it, and you're just like, come on, man, like whatever. But I'm not gonna point fingers. I'm not here to talk shit on anybody. Everybody's doing this for the same cause, but it's just, I don't know. I think people should be involved when it comes to something as unique as skateboarding. It's not a tennis court. There's no regulation in skateboarding. Therefore, there can't be a regulation in the skate park. Every community has different needs. If you go into a community that is purely street skaters and you give them an 11.5-foot deep vert bowl, they're going to be bummed.
Yeah. I don't know, to play devil's advocate, though, when they do those community input meetings, it seems like sometimes the people who happen to be free on those days get a disproportionate say. And sometimes you get some features where you're like, huh, well, I know exactly why this, I can look at the parks that we have in our area, and because I know who was involved with what projects, I'm like, yeah, I know that's why that's there, right? So maybe there's some sort of trade-off there.
Absolutely.
I'm heavily involved in the mountain bike world as well. And there's like way more infrastructure there, not physical, but there's IMBA, which is the International Mountain Bike Association, right? And then if you want to have a local chapter of IMBA, which I'm a board member of ours, there's that you could be, anyone you could join IMBA, and your membership money will go to the local chapter you choose. IMBA keeps like $4 or something, right? And they do all these. There's tons of education when it comes to trail building, and they use terms like user conflict, sustainability, accessibility. They are looking at not just who shows up to the meetings, but they're looking at geographically, what are the demographics? Who could the user groups be, right? And I think that's something in skate parks that really, really matters. I'm like kind of consulting with a town in the southern tier of New York. Shout out the Elmira Skate Park Advocacy Group. And one of the things I told them was, you have to decide what you want. If you want something just to serve your community, you don't have to go crazy. It could be more of one of these like spawn cookie cutter plazas, if that's what your users are. But if you want something to bring people in, right? If you want people to, if they're driving through the state, to get down to New York City from where I am, you could either go across to Syracuse and then straight down, or you can go straight down and then across because the Finger Lakes are in the way. I was like, if you want to build something really awesome, I guarantee people will go this way to stop and ride your thing. And it can be a tourism draw, but you have to decide, what do you want? And then even within what you want, you have to put that in the context with what's around you. If you want to just build a skate park with an 11-foot bowl, but there's no other skate park for hours any direction that has a bowl, it's not really accessible for many users. So maybe you should build like a 3 to 6 foot flow style bowl that's kind of more multi-use, and then let the next town take it up a notch, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you guys have conversations like this? Is in the skate park world more broadly, or what do you think? What are your thoughts on this?
We do sometimes, definitely. We actually just had that happen here in South Dakota. Evergreen Skateparks came and did the lead skate park 2 years ago. They killed it. It's really sick. It's got a couple of street features, but a lot of the kids around here like street stuff, like pretty heavily. There weren't any stairs. They wanted stairs, that kind of thing. The park is sick. And there is a bowl. It's a nice little peanut. I think it's like 7 and 5 or something like that. With like hand poured coping all the way around. The thing rips. Super fun park. But kids wanted, stairs and like hubbas and that kind of thing. So Spearfish, when they did their design, they had those meetings and everybody was like, we don't want a bowl. We want a couple of quarter pipes and stuff, but we don't want a bowl. We want like a mini ramp style thing, but we don't want a bowl. And so they were like, okay. So they got their design on. Then the next town over, which is only 15 minutes away, is Belfouche, the one that we just finished. They were they didn't want any transition. They were like, we want as little transition as possible. So they literally gave them a quarter pipe on one side with a couple of different levels and a hip, and a bank on the other side with a quarter pipe in the middle of it jutting out. And that's the only transition in the park. The rest of it is plaza. It's just rails, hovers, different style ledges, manual pads, and stairs. That's it.
From a construction standpoint, are plazas easier to build than transition stuff?
Depending on the transition stuff. So if it's a big expanse and I don't know, it's for me, building ledges and boxes and like flat stuff is like easy and it's really mindless. Making sure that things flow correctly and tangents are good. It's not difficult. It just takes a little bit more brain power, and I enjoy it a lot more. I think as far as execution is concerned, I enjoy the transition execution and like construction a lot more than the flat stuff. So I don't feel like it's more difficult, but I guess technically it definitely is because you're cutting shapes.
Oh yeah.
And you're using, a lot of eyeballs and a lot of experience to get things to look the way they want. Sometimes you can't form things. You just have to set it up, lay the mud down, and then cut it and make sure that it is, drains and that it's not lumped out.
Why don't we, just for our listeners, who I would imagine many people have no clue how a concrete ramp gets built. Let's just say we were going to build a real basic. Let's just say it's 8 foot wide, 4 foot tall quarter pipe. What would the process be from start to finish? How is that built?
Okay, so it depends on what you're building on and where you're building. Is the site clear? Is there an existing slab? Is there an existing wall and slab? What are we looking at? We need to set up the field so that I can explain.
Say there's a concrete slab.
Okay, concrete slab. Is there a wall, or do we have, or is it just a straight slab, just a flat slab?
Concrete slab?
Okay, all right, sweet. So first thing, you need to decide what you want to do to build against, because you can't just erect this thing. So you have to either create a form to build a wall, or you have to build a wall out of cinder blocks, bricks, XYZ, however you want to build it. Once you build that wall, the width and the height of what you want to do, you can start creating forms off the sides of that wall. You figure out how wide you want your deck, and you cut sheets as tall as you need them, 4 feet, and as wide as you need them. Say you want a 4 foot deck, 4x4. Then you decide what size transition you'd like, what radius you'd like on the transition. You pick your radius, go for a 6. And then you cut your 6 out. You make sure that you cut a full sheet all the way down to the ground. The way that I like to do it is to take a transition, hang it. Now this is where tangent point comes in. You have the start of where the coping is going to be, but you want to make sure that the tangent of the radius of the circle meets at 0, so that you don't have an inverted tangent, and you'll hear it when you skate it. It'll go click, click, and it won't be a true radius, or the opposite way, and you'll retain water, and it'll bird bath on the bottom, and you'll feel a little dip on the inside. You really, really don't want it to go backwards, because then it'll just keep water there, and that's a problem. So once you figure out what you want in that radius, you go ahead and fill that form. You erect those 2 radiuses on the sides. What I like to do is I like to cut the concrete out in front of wherever that radius meets. You'd hang them, you'd run a string line from one side to the other, snap that string line on the ground. Then what I like to do is get a demo saw or a concrete grinder, grind that concrete out at least 3-4 inches deep, and chip it out with a hammer. I go about 8-9 inches wide in the full length of the run, all the way across the bottom. What you're going to do is that radius for the form is going to meet into that concrete, and your concrete is going to meet the existing slab completely perfectly. That 8 inches is going to give you a little footer to pour into, so that there's no seam at all. So you're not pouring the concrete on top of the slab. You're pouring the concrete to the edge of the slab. Now what I do in succession, even furthermore, is anchor that little cutout section with something, either rebar, drilling it into the ground and hammering it in, and then connecting it with a piece of rebar. You can go with wire mesh. You can pinch nail them into the ground, drilling with a masonry bit into the ground. I'd like to take a piece of tie wire for rebar, bend it in half, about 6 inches long. Then I get a number 9 Torx 3.5-inch screw, throw that with the tie wire into the hole, and screw that into the ground. Once it's below the grade, you can wrap tie wire around it. You can use it as an anchor to put mesh in there and use those to tie to. It's one of the things we used to do in the DIY stuff. After that, you got to fill the shape. You got to get at least to where it's 6. I like to go 6 to 8 inches thick on DIY stuff. You build your inside up and you tamp it. Try to go small lifts with the dirt or the earth or whatever you're using. But if you don't have earth that's compactable, you might just fill it with trash. I mean, we've done old concrete and appliances and like broken down gates and people's kitchen sinks and shit, or like in the
just
concrete.
Fill that void with whatever
just
can
to fill it
up
up so you're not filling it with concrete, because that's expensive.
Yeah.
So fill it up, make sure that it's under everything. Once that's done, get some sort of rebar going. If you want rebar, if you want mesh, but you need something for the concrete to grip onto, and it needs to be steel. We've used chain link fence. We've used a multitude of things. As long as the concrete can grip onto it and it can be suspended so that the back and the front have space in between them and it can fill through and bind, that's what you want. You don't want it laying on anything. You want it away from everything, but still under the top of the form. After that, you need to decide what kind of coping you want. If you want metal coping, you need to anchor it in and weld it into place. You can use conduit, which is what we like to use, or number 4 rebar, anything really just to keep it in place and make sure that it's either anchored into the ground or into the fill in a way that won't move it. Once the concrete gets poured, it's nice to have a couple of anchors off the rebar too, just so that the concrete has something to grip onto. I generally do them backwards, away from the face of the ramp, diagonally downward. Then go ahead and mix bags and fill her up nice and wet, to start, and the back to fill it up. If there's a turn down wall, if it's like a cinder block wall or something you've already filled, then maybe go a little drier. You want it the consistency of like some little bit wet Play-Doh. Then, it's all about timing after that. You just have to wait and let the concrete do what it's going to do. Shape it. Don't touch it too much at first. It's a huge mistake. Once you screed it or cut it, whichever you're going to do, don't touch it. Just let it hang out. You'll know when it's time. Go up to it, touch it. When you can put your fingers into the concrete about a 1/2 inch, go ahead and scrub it. Get a resin float out, something. Give her a nice scrub down. Again, lightly. Don't press on it too hard. You don't want to dent it. Get it all filled in and sealed up. And then you can choose. And many people do this many different ways. You can Fresno it, which just is a steel trowel that seals it and brings the Portland to the top and seals the finish. Or you can just wait, scrub it again, maybe run a mag over it. It's magnesium float. Bring some more Portland up. And then, final hour, it's seal trowel time. You're on it with steel. You're trying to just get everything filled in, your holes filled in, and generally takes 2 or 3 passes to get it really, really solid if your timing's good. Some people like to go more. Some people like to go less. It's always preference based. Seen people that shine that shit till it's black. And then I know other people that prefer a little bit of texture and like a little bit more grip. So just, personal preference there, but that's it. Then don't skate it right away. Let it hang out for at least a day. If you can keep it wet and covered in that time, don't wet it down too soon. Make sure that it's hard and you can't put your fingernail into it. Then you can spray water on it. Keep it as wet as you can and as warm as you can. Keep it above 40 degrees if it's cold. Try to heat it somehow, propane heater, whatever you need, but it'll just make it stronger and it'll just help it cure. The longer it stays warm and wet, the better.
When you're doing your job, do you use the same concrete all the way through the project? It's not like the deeper stuff is different or anything?
It depends on the job. So for flats, sometimes they have a different spec or a different mix. So they call for a different aggregate size and maybe a little less Portland. Sometimes it's the same mix all the way through the skate parks, or you're just using the shotcrete mix, 7 or 8 sack, pea gravel, 3/8 pea gravel. For everything, it's still air entrained. It's still, got whatever additives you're using. If you're using like Delvo, or if you got like a fly ash ratio or something going on there. But yeah, it's always different, man. You never know. It just depends on who the job's through. What
is Portland?
Portland is cement. It's one of the 3 constituents of concrete: aggregate, Portland, and water. It's what creates some concrete. And Portland is just cement. It's mined all over the world. There was a pretty heavy shortage pretty recently. There's only a couple mines in the United States. There are a few big ones in Europe, but it's pretty rare. It's pretty expensive now. They grade it in types, and one of the types that was used in the 50s through 80s recently became very scarce, almost completely gone. So they switched over to a new type. A lot of people don't like it because it acts a little bit differently. They think it has a little bit of a less bonding, less tensile strength, a little bit more apt to delaminate, that kind of thing. It's a little bit more, just doesn't chemically react the same way with the lime and with all the other additives that create the concrete. So it's different, but yeah, that's basically rundown.
So when you're getting towards the end of the process and it's kind of like watery on top and smooth on top, that's actually physically bringing a particular element of that through the rest to the surface.
Right. So what you've done is you've pushed the aggregate and the sand below that Portland cement. That Portland cement is acting on a hydrostatic barrier and an ionic bond. It's being pulled electromagnetically and also chemically being pushed upwards. And it's sitting on top. Yeah, it's concrete stuff.
Now,
it's go ahead.
If someone wanted to take all the information you just give me and they're going to try to build a DIY quarter pipe of their own, what cement or cement product would they be getting at their local hardware store or whatever? What should they be looking for?
Okay. So you can go to any hardware store, almost any hardware store, and you can just ask them for basic Portland cement. They don't provide different types of Portland cement that I'm currently aware of to the public. That's more of a batch plant, like a supplier chain thing only that you can find. And again, I think that the other types are so rare that they're just not feasibly, ordered because of the expense. So all the Portland that you're going to get is pretty much the exact same stuff at stores. You get Portland cement and you get regular Quikrete or Sackcrete. For every 80-pound bag of Sackcrete, I like to do about a half a cup of Portland on top of that. Some people like to go heavier. Some people like to go lighter. The more Portland you add to that concrete, the faster the concrete is going to catalyze and harden. So you just have to keep that in mind. It'll create the chemical reaction and it'll go off really fast. So you just have to be aware of that. And then just mix it really, really well. When you mix the concrete with the water, just throw the Portland in on top of it and just give it a really, really good mix.
So your normal Quikrete you're buying at Home Depot, whatever, wouldn't have the Portland in it. You have to add this to it.
No, not enough Portland
not
to
enough.
Make Skatepark quality concrete. Like you want more. It's probably going to be like a 3 sack to 4 sack mix. Sackcrete, I'd imagine somewhere around there. And you want more along like the lines of like a 5, 6, 7, even 8 sack mix. Okay. Just meaning more Portland. That's just how they denote it. It's the sack in the mix. So but again, like I don't like to go more than about a half a solo cup. 12-ounce solo cup. I'll fill it up halfway, dump that in there for each bag of Quikrete. That's kind of how I do it.
And if you were to build a ramp without the extra Portland, it would just be a little bit weaker. What would it be like?
Well, not only weaker, but it would the finish wouldn't. You would see sand and you would see aggregate after the finish. The Portland is what you see and what is hiding that sand and that aggregate underneath. Without that Portland to be able to be brought up to the top, without the correct volume of Portland to be able to be brought to the top, you'll be able to see that sand and that aggregate, and it'll be rough to the touch. Even if you hard trowel it, even if you work it really, really good, eventually it'll wear down faster. So it won't be as strong, and it'll definitely probably wear out a little quicker and be a little rougher to start with.
That's great. This is all really good information.
Thanks, man.
I remember when Baboon was saying they do what you said. They hammer conduit into the ground and hang all the coping to have all their points to start that stuff. That's pretty intuitive. I wouldn't know where to begin building a concrete ramp, but I wouldn't have thought to like hang the coping. I would have thought just stick it into the concrete when it's wet,
Oh, right. I've heard people say that, like, they're like, do you wet set the coping, which means exactly that. And I'm like, oh my God, could you imagine like trying to wet set a 60-foot wall of quarter pipe? Like it just, so we think it's funny sometimes, but it's a very, very legit question because nobody every time that we build a park, we have 3 or 4 people in the community come up and just be like, holy crap, that's how you do it. Like, now we know. And we're like, here it is. We're not trying to hide anything. We want people to build stuff. We want everybody to build their own stuff. So we're pretty straightforward, and everything we try to do is just to keep water away from that. The reason we use conduit is because it's galvanized and it won't rust and it won't transfer liquid from the ground to the steel. So that's why you use the galvanized, EMT, basically 1/2 inch EMT.
Cool. Kyle Reynolds is in the chat and he's praising you.
I love Kyle. He's my buddy. I love him so much.
Dan Claybills said, "Does the Portland naturally rise to the surface?"
No, it doesn't. If you don't float it and you don't manipulate it correctly, it will not. You can absolutely still have a sandy finish and a rough finish if you don't float it and scrub it and manipulate the concrete enough. Yep.
So
I've
you're
seen
like
it before.
Portland snake charmer. You're bringing that up to the surface.
Kind of like that. Yeah.
So, okay, another construction question. So when you, how much of the ramps in a concrete park are being finished by hand? Is it literally everything is being touched by your hands?
As far as features are concerned,
yeah.
Yes, 100%. And by hands, if sometimes we have to use pole tools, obviously, because we're manipulating them with our hands. Absolutely. We do not use machines for any features at all.
I wasn't thinking about machines. I was just thinking it like you just pour it and it just does its own thing. But I'm saying because you have to bring the Portland up, you actually have to physically do.
You have to strip the forms, and then it's called stripping and facing. You have to strip the wooden forms off once the time is good for the concrete to set enough to be able to hold itself up. And then you have to put, your resin floats or whatever time it is, however you want to deal with it on that concrete just to seal it up, or else it's going to be open, raw. You can vibrate it, and there are a multitude of different applications and techniques to use to get a really good finish without manipulating it. And it's absolutely possible. There are different boards that you can use along with different form releases, along with different techniques that will give you a very, very seriously nice finish without manipulation. But we prefer to just take it off and just put our eyes on it and then go ahead and just touch it a little bit and make it, if there's holes, fill them. If there's a little dent somewhere or something needs to be scrubbed out, a little groove or something didn't get filled in, we can throw mud in there and scrub it in. So that's just my preference. But I've seen California skate parks. I've seen Pivot do it where they use different techniques and it comes out absolutely glass smooth and beautifully sealed. Yep.
There's a newer skate park in Hamburg, New York. It's just south of Buffalo. It's a small park. Okay. It's kind of a unique design, and it is unbelievably smooth. I don't know offhand who built it, but like the second I rolled on it, I was like, "Damn! Like this is good." Wonder if I can look that up real quick.
Hamburg, yeah, I'm interested. I wonder if that's Grindline or Artisan or Fifth Pocket or.
Next question. I've seen people making a concrete quarter pipe. Like I've seen, they got the radiuses on the outside and they kind of use a 2x4 and they're like kind of forcing the concrete down, right? That makes sense in my head. How the hell do you do that if it's a bowl corner? And then if it's an outside radius bulge, how the hell do you get that shape?
Okay, so there are a couple different techniques. You can make a radius checker, which is basically just the radius that you want the face of the wall to be, the riding surface to be, and then you build a handle for it. And when you fill the form up with concrete, you overfill it a little bit, and then you run around with that radius. There's a top form and a bottom form always. You take that radius and you press it into the concrete, and it cuts out the shape of the concrete. You do that every foot or so, and you make it look like a little pie pieces. Then you have radius cutter trowels and or cutters, manipulation tools, just like they use to cut pools with pool walls. They use gunite rods in pools too, but these are just cutters. And they're basically just, 4 or 5 inch wide, 12, 16, 18 inch long, just the same steel as trowels, same shape as everything, but they're bent into radiuses, different radii. And you just go along those groove lines and you cut out that excess concrete and you create that radius shape. You have to go diagonally. You can have to go up and down, make sure all your lines are out, your lumps are out. You go back with the checker. You keep pressing on the wall until you don't make any marks. That's when you know that the whole thing is the same radius and it's checked. The other way is to make a radius screed. You make that exact same thing that I just said, but what you do is you hold it on the wall and you run it sideways, and you push all the concrete sideways, and you use it to cut the wall in a radius like that instead of manipulating it with your hands. Then all you're doing is screeding the radius sideways. Somebody's moving the concrete that you're getting out away from it with a rake simultaneously, but you're just slowly moving along the wall, and it's just the radius of the concrete just kind of turning like this in a pivot around whatever central point you're using. A lot of the European guys like to do that, like the dudes in minus ramps and pools, or like all the sick dudes over in Europe that do this stuff.
What's the I guess what's like the hardest thing to build when like is of all the features, what's the one that's
full pipe, cradle, and
full pipe? Yeah,
full pipe variations and cradle variations for sure.
What's a cradle?
So cradle is a half sphere on a bias, so it's bisected, and it is just the hollow half sphere. That's what a cradle is. And then a full pipe is obviously a full pipe.
Yeah, I could see how that would be really challenging to get concrete upside down and whatnot.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways to do it. You can form it from the interior and blow on the outside and then strip the face interiorly and finish it, or you can do it the real hard way and try to do it the opposite way and blow and shoot up above your head and stuff and try to goon it. But I don't know, I'd much rather do it from the backside and fill the face in and then let it sit and then strip the form and fill it in, then try to shoot up above my head. But I've seen people do things like that, so it's not that you can't do it. It's just how much do you want to play with your health that day.
Are there any particular features or style of features that you just love building?
Absolutely. I love building big radius walls, and I love building the shallow ends of pools, like any tight radius, small walls that are round. I just love it. It's just my favorite thing to make, to shape, to cut. It's because it's what I like to skate.
So you like tight radius stuff?
I do. I like tight. Not as much as I used to. I'm getting a little bit older now, but I like them pretty tight. I mean, I like, any pool at a skate park is probably a little loose. I like the backyard stuff a little more, but that's definitely my flavor.
The best I can come up, I think, at Hamburg Park, I think it was Artisan.
Oh, Artisan, yeah. I love those guys.
But I saw somewhere else,
awesome.
Someone hashtagged it with Pillar. Pillar's done a lot of the stuff in New York.
If it's Pillar, then it's Artisan, because Pillar does most of Artisan's designs now.
Because a lot of the stuff in our area is Pillar, and Pillar, and it all looks really similar, and they have a lot of similar features. And this Hamburg one looks very different than almost any skate park I've been to.
That's awesome.
It's shaped like a V. It's really it's very small, and at the top of it is, I think maybe it's a 5 or 6 foot half pipe, but the half pipe is like broken a bit, so there's actually a hip inside the half pipe. Very mellow. It's probably maybe only 20 degrees, and then on the one side there's the half pipes turn into rollers that are maybe 2 feet lower, and those are opposing like 6 foot or 7 foot extensions. And then the park breaks off into 2 arms left and right, and the one side just has 2 flat bars and a ledge, and the other side has an up, across, and down just pyramid, and then a box jump, a long wide roller, and then like a big quarter pipe. And it's really simple and unique, and it's awesome in that you can eat the roller to slow down for the flat rail side, or you could pump the roller and gain speed for the box jump side. And I just thought it was a very, very simple design that kind of caters to all skill sets and users while being it's a very, very small skate park. And as I said, it was extraordinarily smooth. Like, it's just like glass. It's so well done.
Yeah, Artisan, man, they kill it. I got a friend that works for them running some of their jobs, and then a few other buddies that are on their crew, and they're just killer dudes, all of them. They really are.
Yeah, a bunch of the other stuff in our area is pillar, and they're like plaza oriented, and I don't know if they just happen to have a bunch of red paint, but there's these same red features around the parks.
Yeah, they have like these little colorways that they try to have like kind of their signature color, like Evergreen does the green on everything, and the baby, like that light blue teal that they do. They've got their little colors, it's kind of like a.
One of the cool things I like from all these, I don't know if it's a pillar thing or what, but all these pillar parks that I've seen popping up around the state, they have a lot of little slappy curbs off to the side. Like really simple, like just on the edge of the slab. It's just it's not completely vertical. It's at a slight pitch, and it's just there if you want to ride it. And I think those are just great for so many users, just like a little curb to ride.
I agree, man. Sometimes that's all anybody can ride, and that makes their whole day. You know what I mean? Like they see that, and they're just like, we've had people ask us to build curbs many times in skate parks, and generally they're older guys, like mid-30s or older. And I'd love to do it if I can do it, and I ask, and it's permission. There's nothing more that I love to do than make curbs, man, because I love slappy curbs. Super fun.
One of the other new parks we just got was. I don't want to be a jerk about it, but I've said this before. I think it's designed awful, and the build quality is also awful. But it's still a fun park. I still like it. They have like a slappy curb, but it's all metal, and it's kind of scary. It's like it slides so fast. It's like, yee.
Yeah, we just had one of those installed in a park we did, and I agree. I'd much rather have just done it out of concrete. I can't really say much about it, man. I don't know why people make those decisions and why people allow that kind of thing, but I guess it's easier.
So this same skate park I'm speaking of, in the middle of it, there's a 4-foot half pipe, and there's kind of hips in and out of it or whatever. And on one side of the half pipe, there's a bank that goes down. It's like kind of a steep bank with a ledge sticking out. But on the other side of the half pipe, it's just, basically a 4-foot wall.
Oh, geez, it dead ends.
And because there's like it's not really a 4-foot wall. They have like it's a skate park, and there's a pump track that goes around it, and in the middle of the pump track is they put all this fake turf in there, so it's nice and green or whatever. So it's not a straight 4-foot wall. It probably goes down maybe 2.5 feet, and there was dirt or whatever. But one of the things I noticed at the park is if you look at the wall, it's like it's all bowed out and like whatever that they use to keep the forms in
Their
place.
forms might have blown out. Yeah, they might not have formed it up well enough.
And you
can tell instantly. Man.
Yeah, it's not even in one spot. It's like it's not even close. And like I was like, God damn. And the whole park, to Dan,
go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, to Dan in the chat. This is Parrington Skate Park. You could look up on my channel. I did a review of it a while back. It's bumpy. Like the concrete's not super smooth, and in some places you could actually see like I guess trowel marks or whatever. And and I mostly bike, and if I could feel it on my bike tires, it must be pretty considerable on.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's if you can feel it through a bike, that's definitely somebody just ran and gunned that one. They were in and out, boy. Yeah, they did not care. It sucks. That's not great. That means, there's a lot of oversight. They either sold them a bunch of snake oil and hit it and quit it and dipped out, or the town just didn't care, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes they'll show up and just both players are at fault. You've got the people that don't want to work hard and do it correctly, and then you've got the people that are supposed to be checking, but they don't care. So it's like,
in this instance, I don't think it was the town. The town was pretty gung ho on it, and that park got built so fast. It was unbelievable how fast it got down. And I know people on the planning team. They're people that are on the same board for the downtown board that I'm on, and so it really must have been on the construction side. And yeah.
Totally. Yeah, that's not great, man. I've definitely seen some people put out some skate parks in an insanely short time that are not up to standard as far as quality is concerned. You want it to be good. You don't want it to suck like that. And
yeah, I wouldn't say it sucks. It's just time. Like, I keep saying to people, like, I think if the layout and the design of the park were awesome, I think most people probably wouldn't care so much about the concrete looking kind of bumpy because, like, hey, it flows and it's fun. The park also doesn't flow very well, so I feel like then you end up becoming even more critical because you're like, why is this like
Yeah.
this, and why is this stupid stairs here, and like
Yep.
that park's got some really awkwardly short flat bottoms that like there's like a lot of like what happened here, like who let this get through,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen so many weird designs in my just doing this for the short amount of time I've been doing it, and I'm just like, what is going on here, man?
Yeah.
Like,
And then
come on.
and then we
dude.
have another brand new one that just got built in Greece, New York, and it's huge and it's awesome, really. But there's
Yeah.
also some like flow stuff where I'm like, why? Like, there's like a really cool hip, nice little wedge hip. It's not. It's probably like a nice happy medium where like on a bike you would like it to be a little steeper, but on a skateboard you'd probably like it to be a little mellower. It's a good size, but when you jump the hip, you're just like flying into a section of like low ledges, and it's
Oh.
like I was like I just was like, what? Wouldn't someone have just thought like, hey, maybe if the hip is whatever like 3 feet tall going that way, maybe it should be angled so you're actually heading at like a quarter pipe that can catch that speed,
Right. You got to envision the line to make
Yeah.
it work, man. So many of these designs, you can just see that there's been no thought in like the line. You're just like, all right, so I'm gonna hit this now. What do you do now?
Yeah.
Or it's like a one direction thing where you're just going in one direction and there's no other way to get back. So the features become one sided and stuff like that. It's just like, man, like it's just part of the design, man. It's just what you have to do. You have to sit there and you have to think about it. And
Yeah.
having multiple eyes and multiple opinions on it is the best way to do it because everybody will bring something to the table. Everybody thinks differently. So, the way I look at something, somebody else be like, no, what about this angle? What about this? Blah, blah, blah. So it's always better to have more people.
All right. Yeah, one more construction question. I've been to a concrete park before where you're going up the quarter pipe and it's like at the last few inches, it feels like you lose the radius, like almost like it just doesn't hold the form. And
like it's flat, or if it's or it's pregnant. Like, have you ever felt it when it's pregnant and it's fat at the top?
No, I've never felt the fat one, I don't think. But definitely it feels like it almost like it flattens out. In one of these instances, actually at the Parrington Park, the little 4-foot mini, if you try to kind of ride it on a bike and air it, it just like, you're like, where's the, like, it feels like it just doesn't have that last little bit. And at another park, I felt the same thing. But then the coping feels like it's jutted out, almost like the concrete like sat back. Could that have been in the execution? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Right. So one of those is the choice of radius, right? So if it's not tight enough, then you'll never get that feeling of being able to like get that little scoop that you need. If it's too mellow, like if it's a 9-foot radius, you're not going to feel that. And then, I mean, unless it's at 9 feet tall, you can't have something 4 feet with a 9-foot radius on it. That's like banked out, man. And so we get these plans sometimes that have this on it. And I immediately call the design teams and I'm like, hey, no, we're not doing this. It's going to be a 6.5 or a 6, like it's going to be a quarter pipe. It's not going to be some weird like bank kicker ramp thing. Like, come on, what are we doing here? Are we building a mini ramp or are we building a place for people to play in the flat bottom? Like, what are we doing here? So, but yeah, man. And then the reveal on the coping is always something that is also always preference. I prefer a little bit of a bigger reveal. Some people really don't like that. I don't like to be obtuse about it. I'm not talking about like a 1/2 inch where you can like hang up or anything like that. But I like a little bit heftier reveal for sure.
What would you say? What's a standard reveal, and what would you, and if your preference is bigger, what would that be?
So they like it to be like 1/4 inch to 3/8. I like it to be just a hair bigger, but it depends on what it is, and it depends on the diameter of the coping too. Like if you're using standard 2.5 inch, then I like it to be just below, like maybe almost a 1/2 inch, but probably just below. If we're talking pool coping, then I like it to be a little bit chunkier. A lot of people don't like that, but I like it because it helps lock in on, Smith grinds, feeble grinds. I like to feel it when I'm doing slash grinds too. I ride bigger wheels, and I don't like that noping feeling. I like to be able to know where that coping is. So we like to do that. We hate noping. We don't like the small reveals where you just fly over it or you can't lock in or anything like that. At the same time, we know that not everybody rides 60 millimeter wheels. So, we make sure that it's accessible and that it's not obtuse and unreachable.
That's a really interesting point. I actually had never really thought about wheel size and coping reveal.
Oh yeah.
Which is interesting because I frequently am talking about wheel shape and locking in, It's interesting. It's rare something like that pops into the conversation that I've never thought of in the skate park world. I'm going to think about this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Also wheelbase and riser height, how high your board is and how, so if you're like me and you ride a 15-inch wheelbase, so it's extra long, and then you ride 1/8-inch risers with 60 millimeter wheels, you're up there.
It's a big board. Yeah.
You need some space to hang if you want to do a Smith grind. Or else your wheels will hit the wall, and it's gonna stop you, and that's just the thing. Like we've figured it out just doing the DIY stuff forever very quickly what too big was and what too small was. We built some things under Kings Highway initially, man, that you could hide half your fist under. And to have to try to grind that, like we would build up the mortar bed because it would be like almost oververt. The reveal would be so gigantic. Pool coping, the wall would be like this, and the pool coping would be like this. You're just like denial. So we fill that in with mortar, and now you've got an oververt transition with a decent reveal. So that's what we were skating.
That's funny.
That's ridiculous. But that's how you learn, man. We were just like you. We didn't none of us went to building school. All of us learned our trade under a bridge with our friends, I
mean, my skate park's not far off. Like the skate park fell in my lap. Well, I worked here, and then like these guys didn't know what they were doing. They were trying their best. They were going into debt, and they essentially got evicted. And I basically acquired all of their assets post eviction for like pennies on the dollar, really.
Nice.
And it's a little more complicated than that, but that's like the simple way of saying it. And I literally just made like a Facebook page, like who can help, and we just tore the whole place apart. And we got a bunch of ramps from a skate park that closed in Syracuse as well. And with just whoever was willing to volunteer and show up, we fucking built a skate park. And we had like maybe 2.5 people with construction experience. We were just like literally figuring it out. And a lot of the repairs I'm still doing to this day are like, well, let me open this thing up and see whatever the hell I did when I didn't know what I was doing and fix it. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. When we had the same thing go on exactly, man. And you guys I've checked your website out. I haven't been to Rochester in years, but I'd love to come check that place out. Next time I'm over on the East Coast, I'd absolutely love to. And what I've seen looks awesome, dude. You look like you're doing an absolutely killer job. I think you should be super proud of that. We had the same thing happen in Kings Highway. We would decide to tear a section down and maybe readjust it, build something new, just because we'd get bored, or we'd be like, we kind of don't like this. We start ripping the concrete out, and we'd find, why are there 150 PBR cans back here? There's the old barbecue. Oh, somebody threw the old barbecue back here. Like, okay, that's in the concrete. Like random stuff like that.
Inside all of my ramps are Genesee cans. We drank a lot of beer building this place.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Genesee. What's that? The Narragansett.
No, that's more like Massachusetts. But yeah, we got Narragansett up here. Genesee's the Rochester brewery.
What's the river that is that the Genesee River?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay, man, it's been a second. I built 3 skate parks in New York, 1 backyard and 2 public parks, and I love New York so much.
Which one's in New York?
Chatham.
Chatham.
I did that. Chatham, New York. That's with Who Skates. That's in Eastern New York. I did the one on Long Island at Bethpage. That's closed now.
Oh,
which was a big project. That was like a 9-foot deep bowl, big spine, huge ditch course with a Jersey berry on the end of it. It was a sick little design. And then we did this guy's daughter's birthday present. She turned 11 and he bought her a skate park for her birthday.
Oh, geez.
In Monticello, New York, about 80 miles west of the city.
Okay.
He's a very well-to-do man.
Sounds like it.
He owns property on a McLaren racetrack, a McLaren race car club, and we were there building his daughter's skate park, 4,500 square foot skate park for her.
Okay. That's
Yep, must be nice.
Yeah. Wow.
No, he was amazing, man. I've never been around somebody with that much money in my life, and he was the nicest, coolest person. Very cool. Very, very cool.
What I found is there are people who spend a lot of energy to make you think that they have money, and then they're usually not nice or gracious because they don't actually have money. They just put their energy into making you think they have money. And then when you're around people who actually have, like, FU money, they don't care to tell you. They just do their thing because they're like, why do I care what you do or what you think of me? Like, I'm rich, dude.
It's irrelevant to them. They're probably too busy to care anyway, you know, mostly. No, I'm right there with you. I agree. I've only met a couple of really, really rich people in my life doing this, and that's exactly it. They're the nicest people, and they don't care. They don't care what you're doing. As long as you're there to do what they ask you to do and you're doing a good job, they're cool with it. Like, he was super cool. I mean, we encountered a water table 3 feet down. It was a 5 foot deep project in the deepest part. We had to create 3 different drains and divert water in a serious way and do a massive landscaping project before we could even build the skate park, because the water just kept flooding, and it was 2 feet deep every single day. We put almost 100 tons of gravel in the bottom of that pit.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, so much, and it was so bad. So we just had to do French drains and just divert water and keep everything away from it, and just do long stretches with, perforated drains subterraneanly to get stuff to go where it needed to go. But we got it done, and it's still there, and it's rocking and rolling.
That's crazy. Wow. Well, I got one last segue into, like, my final questions here for you. I appreciate your kind words about my skate park.
Of course, man, you're killing it.
I beat myself up a lot about it because it's like, it looks good from a distance, but it's pretty beat up. I've had this place for 9 years. I'm a one-man show, and, like, I get plenty of hate for, the place being deteriorated and in rough shape. And it's like, if you understood the situation, you'd like, people get it. But yeah, it's not easy.
No, absolutely not. No, and anybody that hangs in there that long has to be commended, because it's not easy, you're right, and plays with your head a lot. We get it all the time with skate parks, man, as well. And nothing like you, because you're, like you said, a one-man show. I'm lucky I have a team. We rock together. But when you're doing it solo, man, that's a whole different thing, dude. And I know the people around you appreciate that.
Yeah, there are plenty of people in the scene who get it, who know, and they tell me, I was at the park and someone was talking shit, and I stepped in and I was like, yo, bro, you don't know. Dave's a nice guy. Obviously, I'm a nice guy. I work so much to make no money so people have a place to ride,
Absolutely,
and,
man.
It's certainly,
that's awesome.
It's
dude.
not
commendable.
A thankless job. I get lots and lots of thanks. It's like the best part of the job is people leaving after their session. They're all sweaty, like, dude, thank you so much for being here. And, like, that's the shit that makes it all worth it, for sure.
Absolutely, man. That's the same here. When people thank us and they tell us, we've been waiting for this for years, that makes anything that I dealt with on that job go away. All the stress, all the little things, all the shit that I didn't, I'm just like, okay, that's why I do it. Like, I love that stuff, man. Makes me super happy.
So speaking of that, actually, it was one of my last questions for you here is, of all the skate parks you've built, like, which one are you most proud of?
I would have to say the one in Bylas on the Apache Reservation. We worked very closely with the designer. We did a lot of very unique things. We incorporated the tribe colors into the tile pattern under the pool coping. Bryan designed their pump track, which is super unique and wild and crazy by himself. We had a lot of a lot of very close friends were made. The tribe took us in, and they had a ceremony for our opening. They taught us a lot about their culture. They accepted us. And it was just an incredible experience. I think that's probably the skate park I'm the most proud of.
And where was this again?
This is in Bylis, Arizona. It's about an hour. It's about straight up 2 hours from Phoenix, east of Phoenix.
Oh, okay. Geez,
Yep,
I think Baboon was saying when he was in the show that they're talking about the biggest skate park in America outside of Phoenix. Like 94,000 square feet. He said he
possibly bigger.
He said he's like if we
possibly
get that
bigger.
He said if we get that job, I might quit.
If he gets that job, I'm going to be on that job with him, and we'll be there for about a year. It'll probably take about 25 crew members, so it'll be my crew, his crew, probably another one of the pivot crews together.
Yeah, because he just did that project in was it Dallas?
Yep, Dallas? I was on that job. And I was there for 3 weeks on that job.
He's just saying, cooking out there in the Texas sun is just brutal. And then you wanted to do
it. Was so brutal, man. And when we shot the shallow end of that big bowl, it rained all day. We shot 30 yards of shotcrete in the pouring rain. I mean, torrential, like 3 inches of rain. It was so gnarly, dude. We had like 4 guys just keeping water off the like 3 dudes finishing. I was on the pump, and as soon as I got off the pump, I just had to jump in because it was like,
wow,
some heavy shit. But dude, they killed it. That park is incredible. Boone killed it. Yarbs, John, Kyle. I mean, all the dudes. Lopez, the whole pivot crew, Derek, Keenan, all the boys. Eli. Those dudes are awesome. Chris Anderson was out there. We had the full crew out there. It was great.
Sounds like a party.
That was good.
I'm sure you guys were well behaved after the shift was over.
Yeah.
Okay. Of all the parks, you've built, are there any you think about like you want to go back to, like the ones like that was just like a fun design?
Very badly.
Very badly. Give me some of those.
The Miccosukee tribe. In the Everglades, we built a skate park with them through Jason Ramft. He runs J Ramps construction out of Hollywood, Florida. And he's built the Hollywood, Florida skate park and quite a few other cool skate parks. He does some pivot designs as well. That skate park was super unique, and I never got to go back. So I really, really want to go skate that. They have a bowl, but the unique thing is that their street course has kind of a weird spine feature with a little hip option on it, and that I just keep thinking about that obstacle. I just want to see what I got over those hips. They're just super fun, super unique. So I want to go back and do that one. The other one that I really, really, really want to go back to, that I'm not sure when will ever happen, but is shoot, I'm trying to remember the name of the town now. I'm so sorry. This all runs together. It's Lansing, Michigan, or not Michigan, Lansing, Illinois. That one.
Wait, where was the one in Florida again?
It's in the Everglades on Alligator Alley. It's for the Miccosukee tribe.
I'm trying to look it up. I can't.
It's called Trail Skate Park, I believe, or something like that. It's painted too. They painted the entire skate park. The tribe did.
Oh yeah, is it like painted like some tribal stuff?
Yeah, it's so sick.
Conservation, Florida.
Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, if there were alligators and no people for 30 miles, that's where we were.
Oh yeah, it's all painted. Oh, here we go. Here's an overhead shot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool skate park.
That little hip peninsula thing.
Oh
is
yeah.
What I want to skate.
That is a unique design. That's cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Fun little banks around the sides of it and stuff. I don't know. I had a really good time.
Oh, there's like a pyramid with like a step up Euro thing on top.
Yep.
That's what I love seeing that when you see like a new take on a classic feature.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
And you said Lansing, Illinois?
Yeah, Lansing, Illinois. We did that one through Pivot, and it also just had a lot of really fun stuff. There's a really, really tight clamshell wall that's only like a few feet tall, but it's like a 3.5 foot radius. That one's really fun to blast through. And then there's a big hip on the side of it that's just great for snapping over. That one I didn't get to skate enough. We had to get out of there really quickly, and I really wanted to give that a little bit more time.
Where are you based out of, personally?
The company's based out of St. Louis. I am recently based out of nowhere. I recently got rid of my house and bought a camper, and I live on the road with my girlfriend now, nonstop year round. I used to live in North Carolina. I lived in Wilmington for the last 3 years.
Okay. Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware?
North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how about Boone was saying. He hasn't had a place to live in like years. He's got yeah.
Yeah, he's got his property out in Utah,
Yeah.
but I mean, you're never there. And that's why I just picked up and stopped, man. I didn't want to pay rent. I figured, look, I'll buy this thing and it'll be mine, and I'll just always have home with me. I don't need to go anywhere, worry about the house anymore, worry about, this, that. Like, it's just simplify.
Just doing the nomadic building skate park life.
That's it. Job to job to job, man. Enjoying it, skating as much as I can, playing, going to shows, just enjoying life.
Oh, you go to a lot of shows? What kind of music you listen to?
I'm a huge musician. I've been playing music for a long time, but I love to go to music as well. I like heavy stuff. I like a lot of punk rock, but I like a lot of death metal and stuff too.
Do you listen to Blood Incantation?
Absolutely.
I saw them in Cleveland a couple months ago, and it was
So
mind-blowing.
Yeah, the guitars are insane. Yeah.
It sounded exactly like the record.
That's insane. When that shit happens, dude, I absolutely love it. I recently just saw Dying Fetus again for like the 5th time, and they're so good. That's my realm, man. Like any kind of death metal like that, I'm into it.
That's awesome.
Suffocation, all that New York stuff.
That's great. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
All right.
Internal bleeding kind of stuff.
Give us some rapid fire skate park feature questions, and then we'll call it a show. All right.
Okay. Sounds good, man. I appreciate you.
What's the best size for a half pipe?
Width or height?
Height.
This is going to be personal preference.
Yeah,
6.
6. Okay.
6.
And steep?
6 at 6.
6 at 6. Oh, okay. That's old school. Okay. Pool coping or metal coping?
Coping.
Ledge or rail?
Ledge.
Round rail or square rail?
Ooh, square. Because my ass and round rails are terrible, dude. God.
Wedge hip or radius hip?
Ooh, wedge.
You can say radius to wedge if you wanted.
I think wedge. I like it old school, man. I grew up skating Skatepark at Tampa. That pyramid hip is pretty iconic as a wedge.
Nice. All right, that was it. That was the.
Thanks, man.
Well, actually, give me the bowl. What's your favorite size for a bowl and shape?
For a bowl, well, I love a kidney. So I love right-hand kidneys. Amoebas will be right next to that. A little extra pocket, maybe an atypical amoeba, not quite a clover, something offset a little bit, and then. I love a foot of vert. If we're talking about concrete, we're talking about radius. If it's 9 feet deep, I like the radius to be 8 with a foot of vert on it. If we're talking about a shallow end, I like 4 foot with at least 3.5 tranny. I don't like a crazy steep shallow end. I used to when I was younger because I thought like I was like hot stuff or whatever. But now I'm old and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So like I like a tile line. I like there to be vert. I like at least 6 inches. But I like a nice like 4 foot. Shallow end, 3.5 foot tranny, and then I love 8 foot with 7 foot radius. That's like my favorite.
So you're a pool guy.
Yeah, I love it.
You'd probably like the bowl at the new Grease skate park is very like what you just said. Like you probably eat that up.
That's awesome.
I was gonna say one more thing. Oh, do you like bowls with corner or more like sweeping rounded sections?
I love big round walls. I'm not opposed to the square, like the rounded square corners and stuff. Actually, the bowl in North Carolina that's right by my house in Ogden Park's like that. It's a big square deep end. It's actually a radius and then a square corner. It's kind of weird. Big radius on this side, square corner on this side. But I just like the big open flows, man. Like I like the big top radius, Sometimes it's fun to have like a tight one where you have to like really slash at it and like it's like confining, but those are normally backyard pools. If we're talking like skate parks, I like a big open one.
You like a waterfall too?
No.
You don't like
I'm not
waterfalls?
a waterfall man. No, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely not. I am a paint pan fanatic. I like a constant drip all the way to the bottom. I have been bucked. I mean, let's talk about Denver. Let's talk about the Punisher at Skatopia. Let's talk about how many waterfalls have taken part of my life away from me. It's obviously I'm a little bit shook. I don't like waterfalls, dude. I've hurt myself more than anywhere else on the waterfalls and stuff.
I think I had on Above Board Skate Park. They're in North Carolina. I'm pretty sure that they got a bowl from another skate park that closed. I think it was them. I could be mistaken. And it had a waterfall in it. And trying to build a wooden bowl with a waterfall, it's like that hurts my head just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's a lot of math and just making sure that your tangents and everything works out, especially on the hips is where it gets fun. But it's just, getting the outside ribs and the outside radiuses put together. Once you have the bones, then ribbing it shouldn't be that hard. You just have to, figure out your spacing and stuff. But
it almost seems like that bowl would be far easier to do in concrete than wood.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is, without a doubt. Without a doubt. One of my really good friends used to build all the Team Pain wood stuff back in the day. He's a concrete guy now. He's in Florida. He does amazing, amazing work. Concrete is like nothing compared to the stuff he used to do. Like their builds used to take forever because it was super technical. Like
that stuff's so hard. I never built a bowl corner. My bowl came from Syracuse and we just put it back together. The corners were already assembled. I'm going to be building my first bowl corner hopefully in the next month or so. And I'm like stressed out about it, but.
Excellent, man. Well, I can give you his contact if you ever want to hit him up.
Yeah.
He's a super nice dude. I'm sure to give you some hints.
I feel like it's just like the first one stressful because it's like the same boom, 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 boom. You just had to get it right,
Do you know Jay that runs the Hiawatha over in Minnesota?
I don't.
You should hit him up too. If I could put you guys in contact too. He's also a master of what you're talking about.
Then I'll hit him up and maybe we can get him on the show.
Jammin' Jay, man, he is the man.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Cam, thank you so much for coming on the show and reaching out.
Thank you for having me so much, man. I really appreciate it.
I hope there's some good stuff in there and some gems. Hopefully, Brian's handling fatherhood right there.
Yeah, he texted me. He said Eddie's time to go to bed, so he had to dip out.
I feel that.
I know he wants to say thank you as well. Yeah. Thank you very, very much for having us, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, if another time works for him to get him on or whatever, we can make it happen again. Because
that dude has a wealth of knowledge, man. He also owned the skate church that burned down, Skate Laborious in St. Louis.
Yeah, I saw that, and I really wanted to ask about that because that's like one of the coolest things I've like ever seen in my whole life.
He built that from the ground up, man, and he could talk to you about that for quite a while. So
there's not a lot of people that have done stuff like what we're doing, and even just like that skate church or owning an indoor park is even just like man. I'm not trying to downplay what you do, but like when your ass is on the piece of paper, when you're like fiscally responsible for anything skate park, skateboard, action sports related, man, it's a cliff that not a lot of people jump off, and most people that jump off it fall to their death.
Yeah, but you're not wrong. You're absolutely right. It takes a real MacGyver and a man of many skills to make it through this, and just endurance. Just it'll break people real easy. You got to be tough.
Oh yeah, I have friends in the industry that for years they'd call me and first thing they'd say, "You burnt out yet?"
Yeah,
I'm like, no,
absolutely.
I'm not burnt. I'm working now harder now than I did when I started my business 9 years ago, and I'm not burnt out. I'm stretched pretty fucking thin. But doing it for the love, dude, keeping the dream alive.
Oh, yeah. That's it, brother.
And that's what you're doing. You're going around the country, building skate parks, keeping the dream alive.
Yes, sir. We'll be doing a pool in St. Louis in somebody's backyard this week. That's my next project.
That's so sick.
I'm stoked.
Well, thank you. Great show. I have a lot of notes here and stuff to look into and follow up on, and I hope that there was some good information there. Hopefully someone listens to this and this weekend goes out and buys some bags of concrete and tries to build a quarter pipe somewhere.
I hope so too.
That'd be freaking sick.
Heck yeah.
Cam, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here. You guys know the deal. Share the video and you can comment on it or whatever, and hit us up on Patreon if you want to support what we're doing over here at the skate park. If anyone happens to listen to this in the next 24 hours, Saturday's our season kickoff party. We got some bands playing, and that's pretty much all I got to talk about my skate park stuff. So